And I will have your books for you in about 2 minutes. All right, thank you so much. Find a seat in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Thank you so much, 6th grade. So we are continuing on with our Too Good for Drugs series. Today we are talking about something very important, something I had to learn as an adult because I was terrible at it for a long time. I'm getting better, I think, maybe. Yeah, hopefully. So communication, very, very important thing. And the lovely lady on stage to my left is my wife. This is Mrs. Talpish. So she's joining us today. Give her a big round of applause. Thank you, thank you. Yep, as you can see, she's the obvious pretty one in the relationship. I do my best, but there's only so much I can do with what I've been given. So awesome. So thank you guys so much. Did we get the books yet for them? No, not yet. I'll get them to you. Don't worry, guys. But Mrs. Talpesh and I have been together for like 20 plus years, married for 17 years, and we just absolutely love being a part of CCA. This place is very special to us as a family, and I'm just super excited for her to get to share with you today. She has her master's degree in licensed clinical social work, and from NYU, very impressive, very prestigious university. So she always impresses me with all the things that she knows, and I learn something probably new from her every single day. So I'm excited for her to get to share on this topic with you guys because communication is super, super important. And so again, just super excited. I'm going to pray over her, and then we'll be able to jump right in. So Father, we just love you, and we thank you for the opportunity to spend this time together as a 6th grade, as a class, and continue to grow us and help us learn about this very, very important topic about communication, last week about emotions, and just all the things that are coming, because it's going to be some heavy material in the next couple weeks. And so we just want to make sure our hearts are right, our hearts are ready to learn and grow from the amazing speakers that you allow us to learn from. So God, I just pray you bless Mrs. Talpesh, let her do a wonderful job, let her communicate everything that you want these children to know about you, about this important topic, and we just love you and we thank you for the opportunity that we have here at this amazing school. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Give it up again one more time for Mrs. Talpesh.
Can you guys hear me? I don't think this is on. Can you hear me? Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. Hi guys, I'm Mrs. Talpish. So I work with high school here. I'm a school counselor and I work with 9th and 10th grade girls. So eventually girls, I'll hopefully be able to get to work with you. And I'm excited to talk about this conversation today because I really like communicating with you all. I love spending time with my students. And this is a skill we like to teach in high school. And so last week you guys learned a lot about emotions and they kind of go together a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And this time we're going to learn about what does it take to be a good communicator, or how do we get our point across in a way that the other person can really receive what it is that we're trying to say. So I'm hoping we can kind of establish what that is. So effective communication, why should we care about this? You know, like this kind of sounds like a training seminar you would do for adults or something like that. Who cares? We're 6th grade. We communicate just fine. But we should care because this is how we develop healthier relationships with each other. We will have healthier relationships with our families, our parents, our friends. And good relationships are peaceful. There's trust between the people, right? There's gentleness and there's kindness. There's compassion. We care for one another. There's empathy. So, you know, we as a body, you know, are going through something with a fellow dancer. We have empathy for this dancer and for her family. Good relationships are helpful. We care, and there's this mutuality of taking care of each other. So I'm hoping by being able to share this with you today, you can walk away feeling a little more confident in maybe how to speak to one another, how to speak with your parents, how do you speak with your teachers, and so we can honor Jesus with our words and make sure we're just connecting well. So first I'm going to mention emotions on the next slide. So there's, you know, our emotions go up and down all day long as in a roller coaster, right? But strong emotions, we're in a state of maybe when we're really sad or angry about something or really frustrated and something just didn't go the way we wanted it to go. That really stops our ability to speak kindly, clearly, compassionately. We're not in a good place when we're really upset. So the first thing we really want to do is learn to calm down our brain a little bit. So this part of your brain, and my science teachers will teach you all of this because this is so exciting and fun, but the front part of your brain is where your judgment and your good critical thinking skills are there, and that's when your kind of helps you formulate good thoughts and process. But the back part of your brain, there's a little thing called the amygdala, and that's where we get really, really emotional. Okay, and so when we're emotional and something bad happens, all the blood from our thinking part of the brain goes back to that amygdala part of the brain. So what we want to do is we want to practice calming ourselves before we speak to someone if we're upset about something. So what makes a great communicator? And that's going to be, there's 4 components of great communication. So one is this idea of emotional regulation, that we're able to calm ourselves before we can respond. So we're not responding in anger, frustration, sadness. 2 would be that we're empathetic. And what does it mean to be empathetic? Empathetic means the ability to put myself in someone else's place and really consider what they're going through. So if a friend of mine tells me, hey, you're like leaving me out, like you're like not answering my phone call, or you kind of ignore me when I'm talking, I have to stop and really go, oh, what's this experience like for her? Let me think what that might look like. Am I doing that? And I gotta believe what she's saying and really feel kind of what she's feeling. I wanna connect with that person's emotion. And then there's this concept of active listening, which means that you're listening. You're listening more than you're talking, and you're using some of your non-verbal cues. You're smiling, you're nodding your head, you're not judgmental of what this person is saying. So I'm not getting mad at my friend that's telling me, hey, you're ignoring me. I'm kind of listening with wanting to understand more of what she's trying to say. And then the last portion of communication would be assertive communication. And so there's a few ways to say what we want to say, but we want to say it respectfully and politely. We want to do it in a way that that person doesn't feel attacked and that person can receive what we have to say. And so those are going to be the 4 components we're going to talk about today when we talk about how do we communicate well. So as an example of emotional regulation, I wanted to take a look at this small clip. It's from the old Beauty and the Beast. This is where Beast is really not practicing emotional regulation. He is not controlling his emotions. Take a look.
Here now. Oh, don't do that. Just hold still.
That hurts!
If you'd hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much.
If you hadn't run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the West Wing.
Well, you should learn to control your temper. Now hold still. This might sting a little. By the way, thank you for saving my life.
All right. So right there, we see a couple of things of what not to do. They're yelling at each other. Yelling doesn't really help bridge communication. They're blaming each other. If you would have run away, this wouldn't have happened. If you weren't in the West Wing, if you didn't keep me as a prisoner, right? They're blaming each other. They're using those you words of kind of pointing the finger, right? There is one thing at the end of this clip that Belle does right. That comes from Proverbs. It says, a kind answer turns away wrath. She softens her tone. And she says, thank you for saving my life. And he, in response, is like, you're welcome, right? Like they soften each other's tone. So this was kind of like an idea of like, we have to pause before we respond angrily. So that's kind of the idea behind regulating those emotions. And I know you guys talked a lot about that last week. So the next thing I want to discuss is this concept of empathy, okay? And the Bible says, bear one another's burdens and fulfill the law of Christ. It's really putting yourself in that person's position, their feelings. It's focused on that other person. And we're seeking to understand where they're coming from. So we don't want to get in this place of judgment of like when someone's telling you something, that's not how it happened, that's not at all it. You don't want to get quick to defend. You want to understand. So we want to ask questions. Jesus was like amazing at that because he would ask questions. When people would ask him questions, he would like answer with a question because he was really trying to get to the heart of this person. In graduate school, when I learned to be a social worker, one of the sayings we used to say all the time was, people don't care what you know unless they know that you care. So I think about that a lot because I could have all this knowledge about different things, but does it really matter if I'm not connecting with other people and that they feel that we care about them? So, maybe Beast could have put himself in Belle's position. She had lost her father. She had lost her freedom, right? And so we wanted him to be able to connect in that space. And this next clip kind of gives the difference between empathy, which is really understanding someone's emotions, versus sympathy, which is just kind of feeling bad for someone. Like, yeah, I feel bad they're going through that. That's terrible. But we're not really connecting with the feeling behind it. So take a look at this clip. This is one of my favorites. You have it. Technical difficulties. I can come back if wouldn't work. Okay, so we'll move on. That's okay. So basically, it's just this idea of we're putting ourselves in that position of that other person. But one of the biggest problems that kind of is a stumbling block to our communication is that we don't listen to really understand, but kind of more to reply. Like we're already waiting for what the next person, like what that person's saying, so that we can reply and say our thing. We spend about 80% of our day in some form of communication. So just listening to me today, like you're hearing communication, you're listening to your teachers, you're listening to your parents, and you're going home and you're maybe connecting with your friends on FaceTime. It's suggested that the average person hears between 20 and 30,000 words in a 24-hour period. So the question I have for you guys and you want to ponder is like, am I really listening to what people are telling me? Meaning that could be your teachers, that could be your parents. So sometimes we don't want to listen to our parents, but we want to listen. What are they saying? What are they trying to communicate? And asking those questions and kind of putting ourselves in that position. Then we have active listening. So active listening is the component where I am getting curious, I'm asking questions, but my body language matches that, right? So I'm not looking down at my phone and I'm not distracted or kind of sending the message that I don't care. My body language shows in this active listening spot that I'm looking with someone's eyes, right? I'm looking at them in the face. I'm smiling and nodding. Reflecting back maybe what that person is saying. So that could look like, Mom, you're frustrated because I didn't text you back, or you're upset, I forgot my lanyard. And then kind of owning maybe my part in this and kind of saying, hey, I messed up, right? And we have to own those mistakes too, because that is part of communication, is that we can be humble, have this humble heart to accept when we make a mistake. And Proverbs 18:2 says, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his emotions. That was slide. Active listening. You guys get it? Yes. No? Okay. All right. So slide 10 tips to, next one, active listen. So this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to stop talking. We're going to listen. We're going to use those nonverbals. We're going to put ourselves in that person's position. We're going to get curious. Why is this person feeling this way? What's going on in their world? Maybe something is up. Like maybe they're having a hard time at home. Maybe things are not going so good in a class and they're feeling really frustrated when they snapped at me. And I want to be a little bit more understanding. So asking those questions is really important. And then giving them time and space to say what they want to say. Earlier today, I had a student in my office, and I don't think I said more than 2 words. She talked the entire time. She just wanted someone to listen to her. And so sometimes you guys can do that for each other. You can just listen. You may not have anything exciting to say back. You may not even know what to do for this situation. But if you can listen to your friend, that goes a really long way. And that kind of goes with paying attention to how they're feeling as they're saying or they're expressing the story or whatever's going on in their world. And you don't want to judge it. We don't want to give our own impressions necessarily of what it is. So we don't want to assume. We want to connect with their heart first. So crises of communications are often crises of emotional connection. We want to make sure we connect our emotions with them. So active listening, I did have a clip for that one, and that was from Everybody Loves Raymond. And so Raymond is an old show, but basically Raymond is practicing this active listening where he's reflecting back what his daughter is saying or feeling. Take a look at this one.
Why did you do this, Allie? This is terrible.
Oh, great.
This is Michael's giraffe. He's crying now. Why did you do this?
Cause.
Cause is not an answer.
Active listening.
Ray, that doesn't work.
It works. I just use it on the worst kids in the neighborhood.
Would you? Look at this. Look what she did.
Just try it. Try it.
No, Ray.
You want me to do it?
No. Okay. Allie, let's talk about what you did.
I don't want to talk.
Are you feeling angry?
Reflect back.
You're angry.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not okay to rip up toys when we're angry.
Judgmental.
You are angry because...
Because it used to be your toy.
Oh,
Yes. I don't like my twins
I see. You think that Mommy and Daddy pay too much attention to Michael and Jeffrey.
Ray, okay, I was handling this.
They get everything.
Right, and you're upset because we gave them your old giraffe.
I still liked it.
But you weren't playing with it.
But that doesn't matter, though, because it was still yours. And you're mad because we gave it to Michael without asking you, right?
Right.
Well, Mommy and Daddy made a mistake. And everybody makes mistakes, right, Mommy?
Yes.
You feel better now, Allie?
Yes, can I have the giraffe?
Well, it's broken, honey.
I know, I want to try to fix it for Michael.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Daddy.
See what I did there?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Can't believe it.
So what's fun about that was, so she shouldn't have ripped up the giraffe, right? So she was in her anger, she sinned, she broke it. Mom was upset at first and she's kind of pointing, don't you do this? When Dad stopped to listen a little bit more as to why did she do that? Where was the disconnection? She kind of came around and apologized and was like, now I want to try to fix it. So it really de-escalated that situation. It made it a little bit better, right? So, and then there's this concept of, well, okay, Mrs. Talpish, like if I show empathy for people, I care for them, I listen to them, what about when I have something to say? How can I share what I need to say in a way that's respectful and direct? So on this slide, we talk about, passivity. There's 3 kinds of styles in communication. There's passive, aggressive, and assertive. So what's the difference between these things? Passive is really when I have difficulty maybe expressing my opinion, my feelings. I'm not able to stand up for myself. I'm kind of saying yes if I really, really want to say no. Someone says, hey, move over, we're making room for this person, and I just kind of do it, even though I didn't really want to. This kind of sends double messages, right? Your tone might look like you're not okay, but you're saying okay. It could be being quiet. Sometimes sarcasm is a little bit, could be passive/aggressive just because it's a little bit aggressive without being direct and clear. So that's that passivity part. And it's keeping these negative feelings inside. So this clip that I have is kind of sarcasm in place, which is a little bit of what we call passive aggressive because again, she's not being very clear. And this one's from Big Bang Theory. Take a look.
First there was PlayStation, aka PS1. Then there's PS2, PS3, and now PS4. And that makes sense. You'd think after Xbox, there'd be Xbox 2. But no. Next came Xbox 360. And now, after 360, comes Xbox One. Why one? Maybe that's how many seconds of thought they put into naming it.
Can you get the butter, please?
However, with the Xbox One, I can control my entire entertainment system using voice commands. Up until now, I've had to use Leonard.
Then get the other one. Pass the butter.
Hang on. I don't feel like you're taking this dilemma seriously.
Fine, Sheldon. You have my undivided attention.
Okay, now, the PS4 is more angular and sleek-looking.
No way!
It's true. But the larger size of the Xbox One may keep it from overheating.
You wouldn't want your gaming system to overheat?
No, well, you absolutely would not. And furthermore, the Xbox One now comes with a Kinect included.
Included?
Yes. Not sold separately. Although the PS4 uses cool new GDDR5 RAM, while the Xbox One is still using the conventional DDR3 memory.
Why would they still be using DDR3? Are they nuts?
See, that's what I thought. But then they go and throw in an ES RAM buffer.
Who is it? Who's that?
The Xbox.
You're kidding!
No, I am not. And this ES RAM buffer should totally bridge the 100 gigabit per second bandwidth gap between the two RAM types.
This is a nightmare. How will you ever make a decision?
See, I don't know. What should I do?
Please pass the butter!
So she didn't care, right, about this conversation. And he's kind of like, you're not taking me seriously, right? So then instead of just saying, hey, honey, I just really want the butter. I'm really hungry. I'm sorry. I'm not maybe giving you the undivided attention. She gets a little bit sarcastic and funny, right? And it's funny to watch. And then she gets a little aggressive. Pass the butter, right? So it's really cute. But it sends a message across that, right? The way we communicate is very important. So the other way that is not so healthy is this idea of aggressive, because aggressive means that I'm standing up for myself and I'm saying what I need or want, but now I'm not caring about that other person. I might even be attacking them or making them feel unsafe, right? Because it's kind of hostile. So it's kind of discounting another person's feelings. I could be sarcastic, blaming. It could be like attacking statements, like, you never call me back when I call you. You're so rude. You're so mean. Now I'm not building the bridge of connection. So this would be hostile behavior in your body language. It could be your hands up, right? Finger pointing, glaring, eye contact, your facial expression. It's kind of not caring for that other person. So aggressive's not good either, because even though you're saying what you want or need, you're not doing it in a way that's respectful to the other person. And this was from Cheaper by the Dozen, which I think is really funny too. Take a look.
Something tells me you had an unpleasant interaction with those boys, Mark. They knocked my glasses off. I heard you were dissing my family. I don't even know your family, you loser. You do now. My order.
Aggressive because he calls him a loser, and now they're actually physically getting into it, right? Knocking each other's drinks down. That's aggressive. That didn't build connection. That didn't have empathy. And he didn't stand up for himself. He could have stood up for himself in a different way, which is the way we want to practice, which is assertive communication. Assertive means that I take the time to kind of process what I'm thinking, right? I want to know exactly what it is that I want to say in a straightforward manner that makes someone feel respected. So for example, hey friends, there's a new student starting. I think we can make her feel welcomed, but to make room for her to sit with us, we need to move table rounds and reshuffle it. What do you guys think? How can we make this happen? It has a little bit of a cooperative approach. I'm explaining maybe what's going on. In that situation that we just saw, he could have said, hey, we are the Baker family. You mistreated our brother yesterday. Please don't do that. And that could have been direct and firm, right? So assertive communication is really just this idea of it's a collaborative approach where you're inviting that person to be part of the solution, and I'm stating exactly what I need without attacking, okay? So this last clip is from a very old show, which my teachers in here will remember, which I used to like to watch it. It was called Family Matters. And this particular mother stands up, she's Mrs. Winslow, and she stands up to her boss, who is really being aggressive, condescending. He's using, he's kind of putting people down. That's what condescending is. You're just putting somebody down. And she stands up for the team at the cost of her job. So let's take a look at this one.
Okay, team, I'd like to begin today's meeting by thanking Harriet for completing the housewares renovation ahead of schedule.
Well, thank you, sir. My staff worked long and hard.
I guess that explains all this overtime they put in for.
Well, sir, we had to work quite late into the night in order to make your deadline.
Oh, so now it's my fault that Ferguson's is charged with all this overtime?
Well, sir, I'm not blaming anybody for it. All I'm saying
Good,
is that...
because I'm not going to approve it.
Mr. Benner.
Ferguson's will not pay for your mismanagement.
Mismanagement?
It's not a good day to ask for a raise.
Is there something you'd like to share with us, Susan?
No, sir.
Why don't you share with us why cosmetic sales are down 10%?
Well, we always have a small slump before the holidays.
Oh, is that it? Or is it that women take one look at you and swear off makeup?
All right, okay, that's it. You've gone far enough. Mr. Bennett, when you came here, you had a reputation for being tough. And I can handle tough. But you don't stop at tough. You go to cruel.
I will not tolerate this insubordination. Apologize right now, Ms. Winslow, or you are out of here.
Apologize? You're the one who needs to apologize, Mr. Bennett. To Susan, Kevin, James, me, and everyone else that you've insulted.
I am not here to win friends.
That's obvious, sir. Mr. Bennett, when you came here, you told us that we were a team and that you were our coach. Well, sir, a good coach is supposed to encourage his team, not destroy their confidence.
A good coach gets the best from his players.
Oh, coach, you fumbled the ball. Mr. Banner, you seem to have forgotten that we're not just employees. We're people. And we have feelings. The only person around here that's not doing their job, sir, is you.
You're fired. Ooh, that felt good.
I quit. That felt better.
So there might have been a couple things she could have done differently. There might have been a couple things she did differently, but she did stand up for her team. And she said he was cruel, he was not being encouraging. And she kind of stood up for herself. And she didn't really put him down, but she did call him out when he was not kind of in the wrong, right? So how to practice this style is really identifying, what is it my feeling? And I'm going to restrain what I'm feeling. I'm not going to just shout and jump at that person. I'm going to process, think, and pray. What is it that I need to say? How can I say this politely in a way that is respectful? Focus on the I statements. I feel when you didn't call me back that, hurt, that you didn't care about me. Respect that person's opinions and feelings and allow that person to speak and kind of invite them, ask lots of questions, engage them. How do they feel about that? And then practice forgiveness. I might have to forgive people that maybe didn't speak to me in a way that was kind, and also ask for forgiveness, because we don't do this perfectly either, right? We make mistakes and we say sometimes things that shouldn't be said. So really being able to practice forgiveness and also ask for forgiveness in that spirit of humility. And then we give it to God. We just give all this to the Lord. So I'll leave you with this last verse. And it says, let your words always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you will know how you should never, what does that say? Answer each person. Sorry, I can't see it. So basically the salt gives food taste, right? It tastes good. So the whole idea is that our words are encouraging, they lift people up, and that we leave people feeling good and better than we found them. So we're going to give our hearts to the Lord and our speech and learn how to kind of practice this concept of communicating well. So thank you guys for your time. You guys have been great. I think Mr. Talpish,
Yep.
questions?
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Mrs. T.
I'm
Awesome.
struggling with that last word.
Yeah, we got
A few minutes. Did I end
maybe
early?
we can do two questions. Two questions. If anybody has a question, I will run the mic to you. Anybody has any questions?
Is that right?
Riley? Yeah. This way. So he's asking, what would happen if you talk to the friend that you're mad at or have the disagreement with, and it just escalates the problem more?
That's a great question. And truthfully, Riley, we always run that risk that when we have a conversation with a friend, maybe they don't take it so well. So the best that we can do is that we make sure we're not attacking that friend when we're sharing how we feel. And if they get a little upset, we give them this space and we might say to them, hey, I get that you're upset, but I still care about this friendship and I still want us to work through this. And maybe if they're really, really upset, that's not the right time. Maybe like, hey, we need a break. You know, we need a little break and we can come back to it. But that's a good question, and we do run that risk, but we want to keep working through it. Good question. Is there another question, Mr. T?
Yes. What if the individual, if you're being assertive and they're being aggressive?
Okay, and so that's another really good question. There's been times, even in my adult life, where I've had to tell people, hey, the way you're speaking to me, it seems a little bit harsh and aggressive, and maybe we need to take a 5-minute break and come back to it, because I don't like the way you're speaking to me. And it can also be like, hey, friend, like, I'm trying to be very calm and patient, but you're getting really mad, and maybe we just need to walk away and come back to this, but I would like you to soften the way you talk to me. And it's okay to say that. It's really okay.
All right, and last one is, what if you're being assertive and they start attacking you physically?
Okay, we need to get away from that. 100%, you'll get an adult involved. It's never okay for friends to hit each other in any way. So you need to get help from an adult and leave as soon as possible. We don't hit people. People are not for hitting. So we definitely want to make sure that we get away from that situation.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you guys so much for your attention. You did an amazing job today. You guys are now dismissed, and you can head to your next class. We love you guys. Have a great weekend.
gonna let it in.
We worship the God who was. We worship the God who is. We worship the God who evermore will be.
There's never been a love so amazing. There's never been a
The story about Jesus starts a long time ago. Like a really long time ago. God created everything in the world. Sadly, sin entered the world. So God needed to send his one and only son. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." Jesus was born as a baby. God had a plan to rescue the world from their sin. There was Mary and Joseph and an angel.